this. So after that, basically, we will have a Q&A session. So you can put the questions in the basically bottom right corner in the Q&A box. And please do remember to put the questions to all the co-hosts and the basically host. So rather than directly sending it to the panelist. So without further delay, so I would like to call up Keshav sir, who is basically currently interning at Dr. Reddy Laboratories. So basically he has basically done a great job. So we will just call up and head it to him. Keshav sir, over to you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah, so hi everyone. So I'm Keshav and I'm interning at Dr. Reddy Laboratories. So I have given around four to five. I have been through the four to five companies selection procedure that were basically core. So the two things that are very important for your selection in the internship through OCS is first is your resume and second is your preparation. So talking of me, my resume was good. I got shortlisted in HUL, Wipro, Pyramid Racket. I mean, like every core company, but in the interviews, I used to mess up because I was not really that prepared for the interviews. I haven't given any mock interview or even discussed with the friends about how to answer. So this was something that I realized later. So now let's start one by one and let's come to both the points. So first is resume. So when you apply for core companies, so what the things that you should have in your resume is first is the mandatory column that will comprise of your CGPA. Then there will be a scholastic achievement section in which you have to write what things that you have accomplished in your academia, like in your JE days, like if you have cleared NTSC or KVPY or any Olympiads, or later in IIT if you have published any research paper or maybe got some scholarship. So that will represent how academically forward you are. So after that, there will be a section of intern or projects. You can write both if you have done a internship, but like many of us don't do internship in the second year because like most of the professors don't give research internships as second year students lack experience. So if you have one, then it is a plus point, but if you don't have one, so there is no need to worry. So that the section will be of your projects, and that is very important for a core internship. So you should have like at least one project that you have done apart from your the uh, projects which are like your course in your coursework. So you should have at least one project that you have done apart from that, like whether it is done with a faculty from IIT itself or you have done from some other professor. So you have to write what you have done in that and what you have achieved, whether you have achieved the results or not. So like most of the companies focus on this thing, the project section only. And after that you can write the technical skills, like if you are able to perform on some softwares like console or some things, MATLAB, so you can write it there, or you are good in some programming languages, so you can write it there. Apart from that, the section comes of ECAs and PORs, and honestly speaking, that is not of much significance while talking from a core point of view. So if you have something to write, you can write it in around 2-3 lines, but uh, well, that basically doesn't count. So the main focus would be around your projects, your internship, and your like scholastic achievements. So you have to, once you make a rough draft of your resumes, make sure that you you get it proofread by some of your seniors who have been selected through the OCS, so that if you have written in some vague manner, or if they can help you to improve it a little bit, so make sure that you get it checked. So this is about resume. So now coming to the interview part, like in core companies, after the resume they release the shortlist for the resume, you cannot reach to the final interview. They have some series of steps. So like like I am from chemical engineering department, and in chemical engineering department, like most of the companies had one test. So after the shortlist is released, so we have a test. So for example, if I explain you the case of Wipro, So, like in the Wipro, there are tests which comprised of logical reasoning, numerical based aptitude, English, and one is psychometric section. So you don't need to really don't need to prepare for it beforehand, but it just check your aptitude and how you're able to manage your time or not. So once you are done with that, after that, some companies do take a GD round, which is group discussion. So if you haven't been in any GD before, so it will be really tough for you, especially in online mode, because like a lot of people are there on the camera and you really don't know who is going to speak next. So you have to uh, you have to fight with others to make your own space where you can speak. So if you have like in an online manner, you have to prepare for GD before. You maybe can pick three, four of your friends who are seriously sitting for the internships, and one can play the role of a moderator, and you can go through that. So after you are done through the GD, so then you reach to the final interview stage. So in the core companies, some questions are like predefined. Like any company, it will ask those questions whether you are sitting in 2022 or 2023. So first is introduce yourself, or like why you want to explore more about chemical engineering, why you're interested, why you chose chemical engineering. So these kind of questions you have to prepare beforehand. So the big mistake I did was like I had reached the final interview stage at HUL itself, and I wasn't prepared for these questions. I did not consult my seniors beforehand. So later I realized that I need to sit and get prepared with these questions. So what you can do is you collect these questions, make a list of them, and make a Google document, and there you can write the standard answers that you are going to put forward in front of the panelists. So just bring a story on the table that why you got interested in chemical engineering. ठीक है कि you were good in chemistry and then you wanted to explore. So whatever it is, like it's up to you. So build a story so that they can relate that you were actually interested. It's not just that you have got this JEE rank and you just get into chemical engineering. So you can build a story that would really very good. This will show that you are really interested in this field. So what basically the core companies expect from you is you are really interested in the subject. So you have to show yourself as a research guy कि हाँ काफी इंटरेस्टेड हो तुम रिसर्च में जो प्रोजेक्ट्स कर रहे हैं दैट यू हैव डन विद फुल डेडिकेशन अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट इन द कोर्सेज इटसेल्फ यू यूज टू लिसन एंड अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट द टीचर्स आर टीचिंग यू नॉट जस्ट कि पेपर से 2 दिन पहले पढ़ के कर दिया सो दे एक्सपेक्ट यू दैट यू हैव द अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ द सब्जेक्ट सो दिस इज समथिंग दैट यू हैव टू मेक श्योर एंड apart from that, there will be core chemical engineering questions that will they will ask from subjects that I think Vishwatra will explain to you later. And so, like I can tell you about something that like in my interview they asked me about what is Reynolds number, what is Nusselt number. So these kind of questions they expect you that you should know. Like these are the basic things that you should know. And one other thing is while making your CV, you should be aware of all the grammatical errors you are that can possibly happen in the CV. So that is why proofreading is very important. Like in my CV, the first alphabet of Reynolds number was small. I have written in small. So the interviewer just pointed out, कि, haven't you checked it before submission? So this was like really embarrassing situation. So you should make sure that everything is up to the point and up to the mark. So this thing is important. Apart from that, let's say now the second thing is that the core companies will test your knowledge of core subjects, and like HUL focused on fluid dynamics and heat transfer, while whereas Wipro was all about heat and thermodynamics. In my Dr. AD interview, they did not touch the subjects, but they rather asked me a lot about the projects that I have done. So they just asked me like, how did you perform this? How did you use a software, or how did you get to up to this result, and how do you know this is the accuracy? You have mentioned it there. So make sure that anything that you are writing in your CV, you are well aware of that. You know it's past and it's present also कि कैसे किया था. And because like we generally like write small points in very hi-fi language, and after that when they ask us about it, so कई बार blank हो जाते हैं. So make sure कि you know each and everything that you are writing in CV. If you don't know anything, just don't write it. Okay, because if they ask you something and you are not able to answer, that means they spotted कि यहाँ पे तो कुछ ना कुछ घपला किया है इसने, and then the whole credibility and legitimacy of your CV like goes off. कि maybe बहुत सारी चीज़ों में इसने ऐसे किया होगा सो मेक श्योर दैट यू आर वेल अवेयर ऑफ व्हाट यू राइट इन सीवी सो फॉर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर एंड वन थिंग ऑल्सो दैट इज दैट आई लर्न फ्रॉम माई पास्ट एक्सपीरियंस you should give mock interviews at least 4 5 mock interviews before sitting for your final interview. So who can take your interviews? First is if you have some seniors who are in contact with you, so they can take your interview where you can like be fully formal with them, like whatever questions you think the interview panel will ask, so give them to your senior, they will ask the same questions from you, so that will help in building your confidence. The second thing, if you don't have any senior, just go with your friends. So if some friends of you uh, are like very confident and have good communication skills, just ask them to help you through the interview, so they will help you conducting mock interviews. So this will definitely going to help you, because if you go there without any mock interview, you will really mess up. For GD, you can prepare with 4 5 friends. And about resume, I think I have told more or less about it. So I think this is it from my side. I will take the questions. Like
Sure,
Shubham,
sir.
can you?
So, yeah, we will do the Q&A at the end of these
Okay,
all have finished after that.
okay.
Sure. Okay. So, thank you so much, Keshav sir, for sharing such great insights. Definitely students will get benefit from these things. So, so now we will continue to basically next our basically panelist, that is Rishabh sir, who is currently interning at Texas Instrument, and we would like to hear it from you, sir. Over to you.
Yeah, hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay, so hi, my name is Rishabh, and yeah, as Shubham mentioned, I'm currently doing my internship at Texas Instruments as a digital intern. So again, I think Keshav has covered most of the points that I think all of us wanted to tell, and most of the important points. I would like to focus a bit more on electrical core internships and what is the CV requirements for those. So I'll be talking a bit more on that angle. So as far as CV is concerned, I think for any core company, the CGPA is very important. I think most core companies have like a CGPA cutoff of 7.5. I think even Texas Instruments, Qualcomm, Intel, I think their CG cutoffs are 7. So so I don't think CG will be a big criteria for most people. After this CV cutoff, after the CV filtering, which is to my knowledge, it's purely based on CGPA. Like no other criteria apart from CGPA is used. Everybody will be given an opportunity to take their test. So regarding what comes in the tests, most of the profiles are related to digital electronics, digital design, digital engineering, so EDA. All of these are very mostly in digital domain. So most of the questions that you will be asked will be on digital electronics, ELL 201 course. So I would suggest if anybody is preparing for electrical core, then you prepare this course thoroughly, because I would say half or even more than half the internships are based on this. Secondly, if you want to go a bit more in the analog domain, then I would suggest you prepare circuit theory, like basic circuit solving, RC, RLC, RL circuits, mesh analysis, nodal analysis, these kind of things, and prepare op-amps also. So these two are the primary areas where you get asked questions. So as far as test preparation goes, I would suggest these two topics you have to do if you want to have like a fair chance of clearing the test. As far as the test is concerned, the shortlist is concerned, I would say for electrical, compared to the number of people that they actually select, the number of shortlisted people is quite large. So even if you do, subpar in the test, you don't have to worry too much about being shortlisted in the interview. But you have to do extremely well in the interview, because the interviewers are usually large number of people usually give interviews. So you have to like prepare well for interviews. As for what they ask in the interviews, it's very similar to the tests actually. So in my interview, I had given only two interviews for Texas Instruments and Qualcomm, as both companies come on day two. So I had already gotten during that time. So my questions in in Texas Instruments or mostly digital electronics. Like I had 2 rounds, so it was pretty much 99% digital electronics. Then a bit of mental ability. That's all. As far as Qualcomm was concerned, this was a bit more varied. They had asked me partly about digital electronics, and then they had a bit more of mental ability, math kind of questions. And then they had a bit of coding. Like I had actually written a project that I had done, my course project in Call 106 in my CV, and they had asked me questions about that. I had prepared for that, so I was able to answer it. So yeah, so as far as electrical core is concerned, I think that as long as you prepare digital electronics EL201 and you revise your circuit theory fundamentals, circuit solving, op-amps, I think if you do these topics, you should be able to do pretty well and get a core internship easily. As far as CV is concerned, again, CGPA is an important criteria. They filter it out for the tests, and even in interview they do look at your CG, so it does play somewhat of an important role. Apart from that, as far as projects are concerned, write all the projects that you have done. It doesn't matter whether it's course project or non-course project, because sometimes even course projects are pretty good, and you do it for a month, 2 months. So write your course projects, but write projects that you are confident in, that you can explain. Like you do not have to get into the technical details of the projects. As far as I know, you just have to tell what you did, what concepts you use. For example, in one other question I had in Qualcomm was they asked me about a project that I did in control systems. So in the course control system, so there we had used PID controllers those days, and we wrote code in MATLAB. So I had actually not revised it properly, so I was a bit hazy on how to explain that. So yeah, I would suggest whatever you write in your projects, right? You can write a lot in your CV, but make sure each point you write it. Like each point you write, you are able to justify and explain it. Okay. Apart from that, again, since it's a core internship, PORs, those kind of things, they do not, uh, you know, do not make that much of a difference. Good if you have them, it's good, but again, primarily it is CG, your technical knowledge, your tests. The interviews are quite long, I would say. One my Texas Instrument interview was about 2.5 hours, 2 to 2.5 hours. I had 2 sessions. Qualcomm was again 1.5 hours. So interviews are going to be pretty long, and they will be technical in nature. So I would suggest you revise your ELL 201 and circuit theory. So yeah, so this is pretty much it for core.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your experience and journey. It helped us lots. So now I would basically call Ramandeep sir, who is basically currently interning now with basically just a second. There is a lag. So yeah, am I audible, Tejas?
Yes, Shubham, you are.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I would like to call Ramandeep sir, who is currently interning at Wipro Enterprises Limited. So that comes for summer intern FMCG profile. So over to you, sir. I guess Ramandeep sir is facing some issues at his end. So now we would like to call up Abhishek sir, who would basically share
Yeah.
some experience.
So shall I?
Abhishek sir, over to you.
Am I
Yeah, yeah, you
audible?
can. Yeah, sir, you are audible.
1 second. Just give me a second. Actually, I made a set of slides
Yeah,
for you guys actually.
yeah.
So please let me know if my slides are not being shared at any point of time and if I'm out of sync, because I wouldn't know it. I hope my screen is visible. Is it?
It is,
It is visible.
yes, it is now visible, sir.
Visible, right?
Yes.
Okay, so guys, I wanted to make this guide on basis of all my friends and everybody who has done. I've taken inputs from them and put it well into it so that everybody gets an intern. Everybody from ITD gets an intern. Let's go. So, so first of all, I would like you to tell you about the core profile, and I'll go through it. So which companies come for core profile? These are some of the main companies which come to IITD for core profile. You have HUL, you have ITC, you have JSW, Wipro, JLR, Texas Instruments, and Dr. Reddy's. Some of these companies come for multiple profiles. Some of these come for single profile. If you pick ITC, they come for a single profile. If you pick Wipro, they come for 2 profiles. JLR came for 3 profiles, I guess, last year. I don't know exactly. Similarly for Texas Instruments. So each of these has different profiles. We can go through them later on in the questions. Those can be taken up by someone from OCS as well. So in terms of which companies you should apply, it is generally best to apply for as many companies as possible for a safer bet on securing the internship. I'll get to why it is so, but I would recommend you to apply to all companies that you're interested in to first of all secure it. It's a higher probability if you do that. So now let's go to what does a core profile mean actually. In most cases, core profile is similar to being a consultant, but in the relevant tech field. At least for Wipro, ITC, I think it's that way. I'm not pretty sure about other companies, but Wipro, ITC, and many other cost-based companies, it's like that. Uh, yeah, and you need to be, it's like a consultant in the relevant tech field. And yeah, unlike a regular consultant, which is based on business-based chapters, management-based chapters, here it is relevant to tech field. If you pick up my project that is currently on cost reduction in a plant, so you can see it involves technical knowledge, but not necessarily everything. So you are expected to know many things. So in general, core interns are given a project or a problem statement of high impact to the organization that needs to be solved within a given timeline of 2 months. It requires to document, establish, and analyze statistics and provide efficient solutions which are then able to be implemented and inculcated viably into the system. The reason actually I'm going through this is it will help you know what to put in your CV, because these are what actually companies are looking for in you. So let me just go through each of them. Does core profile require technical knowledge? Yes, technical skills are required. Each field you specialize in, that is your projects, your courses, whatever, in alliance or in accordance with your company's field is added bonus. So make sure to mention them. Any project you did in relevant to Wipro, ITC, HUL, make sure to connect to the seniors who work there and find out what their projects are, and then try to build your CV towards the technical knowledge of that. For example, HUL is a product-based FMCG, so they give more priority to chemical-based project, as Keshav was already telling. So they give you various types of questions which involve all sorts of things. Okay. Does core profile require consultant type skills? Yes. Analytical skills are also required. That's why most of these companies conduct an aptitude test. So it's very important you score on that. The aptitude test is very important. And do core profiles require coding skills? Maybe some companies do, some companies don't. However, I would recommend you to do a little bit of coding anyway. That helps you a lot even after joining the internship, because most of the internships which you do are data based. Like mine is currently on cost reduction. So I would recommend you to do a bit of Python. You would be comfortable with pandas, and that will help you, handle large amounts of data very easily. And as it comes to communication skills, they are a must. I can't emphasize enough how important they are. During internship itself, communication skills are very important. So that is one aspect that will definitely be checked by companies. So try to build up your CV or profile in each of these four with equal weights or more weights, whichever you require more. So I'm going on to the next slide. Any questions you have, please keep them noted. I'll answer them at the end. So how to go about the process? So stay confident and neither underconfident nor overconfident throughout, starting from CV preparation till you join the intern. Let me emphasize that. So so I would try to break this down into multiple steps: CV design, CV preparation, CV evaluation, and application for companies, revise relevant subjects and prepare for tests and AC interview. We'll go over each of these steps, how to do them well. Once again, I would like to say these I have taken from input from many of my friends to put them down together. So yeah. So CV design. Before actually beginning to starting the CV, actually look at what your which company you're applying to, what they expect from you, and try to filter out your projects and sort them on basis of relevance, and then fit out all your points. This is only a design, okay? So it is advisable to put it in a decent or heavy relevant project to the company at the very top. That helps you secure a internship in a relevant industry. For example, I had worked in Tata Industrial in second year. That's why Wipro found it very similar to um, the work I do here. That's how I got into core profile. So I would emphasize that if you have any decent or heavy project relevant to the company, try to design it and phrase it at the top. Okay. So I let me emphasize this why. For example, an SDA profile wouldn't care about core projects. Similarly, yeah, and try to keep your projects to the profile. And now CV preparation. An average hiring officer takes 6 seconds to go through your CV. I picked this up from Harvard website. So in order to make it count, you need to phrase your important points, projects, PRs, etc. in very well rehearsed way. You should not highlight everything. You should highlight only the key points and give emphasis on what you want them to see, because they'll go only through 6 seconds. If you do not put something in a proper order or something emphasized well, they will not look at what you want and you will feel that it was random. Well, actually, it isn't random. So it is important that you take care of all these small points. So, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah. So ECS and PORs are welcome to most companies, but they are not the only criteria. In core, when it comes to core, they do not give that much preference to it. They're welcome, but not the criteria. And also, as Keshav already pointed out, anything filled in your CV to this point should be easy to explain to the hiring in charge, because he'll ask you questions from the past, present, everything. And should you whiff on that, he knows you've bluffed in your CV and he'll not take you. So try to emphasize on one very important project and try to be solid on that project. There should be no question that you're not able to answer on it. That was in my case, so that's how I managed to get in Wipro. And a well presented and phrased POR also adds a lot of value to your image in the hiring minds officer. Someone with good managerial skill, you need to phrase your PORs very well. Trist PORs, or you can say your Insti PORs or anything. Got it? And evaluation. So after design and preparation, we would actually, like you to, I would actually like you to get your CVs evaluated by your friends or seniors and keep reiterating till many of them are actually satisfied. I did this. Most of my friends who secured an internship did this too. So oftentimes your single thought will not help you to get up a hiring officer's mind. So you may end up hitting hiring officer's mind by taking a general consensus of your CV. So please keep a note of all these points. If you want, I'll share these slides at the end, not an issue. So for various profiles offered, try to make different CVs as much as possible. Even if the points are same, reorder them in a way that will help you. They should be different, that's all. And this is key to crack an internship, apart from CGPA, which cannot be changed now, so I'll not be talking about it. CGPA is important, but there are people without CGPA also who have made it well, so I'm focusing on that. Apply to all companies you are interested in interning to. Some companies require you to fill forms on their handle, like ITC and HUL. Also, when you're applying for a large company, right, please take a look at their values on their organization. And your attitude should be in relevance with their values when you attend the interview. So when you attend the interview, you should actually have a little bit of idea about these kind of companies, like what does HUL do, what does ITC do, what does JSW do, what does Wipro Core do, what does Wipro FMCG do, what is the difference between Wipro Core and Wipro FMCG, those kind of minute differences. And what values does Wipro carry? For example, Wipro carries integrity. They really value company integrity a lot. They wouldn't do anything that would damage the reputation of Wipro. That's exactly why exactly Wipro looks at in your interview. Should you have a lot of integrity, they'll take you. And yeah, and honesty is very important. If you do not know something, do not bluff. Just be straight up that I do not know, or not very straight up. I mean, I'll tell that on the next slide. So moving on to preparations, tests, and interview. Standard tests involve math, English, aptitude, psychometric, or sometimes even coding in Texas Instruments, etc. Or a combination of these tests. Try to score as much as possible. And you can prepare on the subjects or projects for interview. I wouldn't emphasize that much, but yeah, but you need to work on it. But don't keep that as your main thing because you have many internships to look at. So focus on your CV first as of now. Make it very solid, then start working on the subjects because you'll have ample time for it. Most questions can be expected from courses or projects listed in your CV. Once again, ordering it is very important. The order in which you write them is in which they'll catch it and in which you'll be questioned. So during the interview, do not hesitate to say if you do not know answer to a question. Also add structures to your sentences instead of abruptly saying something like I don't know. If somebody has asked a complicated question, instead of saying I don't know, you can say let me try something for 2 minutes actually. Try something for a couple of minutes, and then if you are then struggling, then you tell that, sir, actually I'm not comfortable in this topic. Could you please ask me questions from this topic? By saying this way, you could actually lead him to the topic that you want. You show confidence, and you also add structures. You even demonstrated communication skills. So you have to try to cover multiple things in short span. That's exactly what interviewers look at. Do not stammer during the interview. The only way I can suggest you to cool down is instead of looking at the interview body language, focus on that. Try to focus on approaching the question because that's what interviewer is looking at. Focus on how you should approach and get into deep thought about it, and stay confident throughout. So don't worry, you will get through your internship. That's it from my side. Any doubts, you please let me know by the end. I'll be happy to help you out.
Yeah, definitely, sir. So, thank you so much, Abhishek, sir, for sharing such great, basically, insights as well as taking such efforts by preparing the PPT. Your experience is really going to help us all. So, also, guys, would like to remind you that you can start putting your questions and basically doubts in the Q&A box so that they can be basically answered at the end of the session. Sure.
Yeah,
So,
please do put in your doubts. Do not forget to ask me. I'll answer all of them.
yeah, definitely. So, yeah. Up next, we would like to call Vishruta ma'am, who is currently interning at Hindustan Unilever Limited. And so over to you, Vishruta ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yeah, ma'am, you are audible.
All right. Hi everyone. I am Vishruta. I am from chemical engineering, and right now, as Shubha mentioned, I am in HUL, doing my 2 months internship here in the supply chain role. So, guys, I think Keshav, Abhishek, and Rishabh have done a great job in telling you all that how to prepare for your core, and especially like Abhishek has taken a lot of pain to make those slides, and which are very thorough, and he has included all of the important points that you do really like read between the lines and implement these. So I think I would not want to be redundant, and I would want to focus on something that's a little bit different. So coming from my own personal experience, these summers are bound to be very hectic and very stressful for almost all of us. And I think the major issue that I faced was that I used to look कि बाकी लोग क्या कर रहे हैं अभी, because you see ना कि तुम्हारे classmates अच्छा ये भी कर रहे हैं, ये भी prepare हो रहा है, analytics भी है, consult भी है, core भी है. So same was with me. What I was doing was कि ठीक है मैं थोड़ा सा competitive programming करती थी, मैं थोड़ा सा consult के cases करती थी, and मैं फिर core का भी पढ़ने की कोशिश करती थी. And the thing was ना कि end में बस बहुत ज़्यादा jumble हो गया था मेरा, and end में like ऐसा सा breakdown ही हो गया था कि पता नहीं मतलब मैं क्या कर रही हूँ, and in the sense कि am I even doing enough, या फिर ऐसा हो रहा है कि सब कुछ try करने के चक्कर में, सब कुछ prepare करने के चक्कर में कुछ भी ढंग से prepare नहीं हो रहा है. So I think at you might also like feel कि in the middle of the summers कि यही हो रहा है तुम्हारे साथ maybe. तो I would suggest कि ना just like sit down आराम से and think कि तुम्हारा skill कहाँ lie करता है, ठीक है? And like I know it is very hard, but like for a moment जैसे ना stop कि बाकी लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, थोड़ा सा सोचो कि तुम्हें क्या करने का दिल है. ठीक है, दिस मेक्स अ ह्यूज डिफरेंस बिकॉज द थिंग इज कि जब तुम्हें रियलाइज होता है कि अच्छा नहीं तुम्हारा तो इंटरेस्ट इसी में है, तुम दूसरी चीज सिर्फ दूसरों को देख के कर रहे हो, तो तुम्हारे लिए बहुत सारी चीज ना क्लियर हो जाती है कि भाई ये तो करना नहीं है मुझे. ठीक है, सो वंस लाइक आई ऑल्सो गॉट दिस क्लैरिटी कि हाँ यार मतलब मेरा कोर स्ट्रॉन्ग है एंड मेरा इंटरेस्ट भी लगता है वहां पे, तो ठीक है एनालिटिक्स को ड्रॉप कर दो. इट वॉज अ टफ चॉइस बिकॉज यू नो ऑब्वियसली इतना बड़ा पूल ऑफ कंपनीज सिर्फ एनालिटिक्स पे है. ठीक है, तो I know it's like a hard decision. I know all of you will also go through like such hard decisions when you are preparing, but do definitely take out time for yourself and आराम से सोचो कि तुम्हें क्या करना है. ठीक है, don't like get persuaded by हाँ भाई सब ये कर रहे हैं मुझे भी करने की जरूरत है and all that. So that's one thing. बाकी I can tell you guys a little about HUL. So, HUL में there are 3 rounds. ठीक है, first is your CV round. So, CV नहीं submit करना होता directly. What they do is they make you fill an application form. Now, what they ask in your application form is basically कि वो questions के form में ना तुम्हारा पूरा CV तुमसे लिखवा लेंगे वहाँ पे कि भाई तुम्हारे scholastic achievements क्या हैं and what are the projects you have done, what are the internships you have done and so on. ठीक है, and apart from that there are also HR questions. So they'll ask you questions like what is one piece of constructed feedback that has helped you the most in life? What are your thoughts on honesty being the best policy? And why do you think you are like you stand out among your peers? ऐसे questions होंगे कि तुम में क्या skill है. So और तुम वो सब भी ढंग से आंसर करना. दिस इज लाइक एप्लीकेशन राउंड वाज लाइक वेरी बिग इन डिसाइडिंग कि तुम शॉर्टेस्ट होते हो या नहीं, इररिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ तुम्हारी सीजीपीए क्या है. ठीक है, एंड देन द सेकंड वाज द वीडियो राउंड, द वीडियो केस राउंड. व्हाट दे डिड वाज दैट तुम्हें वीडियो रिकॉर्ड करना था. इस बार शायद ऑफलाइन हो तो आई एम नॉट श्योर हाउ इट विल गो. तो what they did was कि they just gave you a couple of questions. There were cases कि मान लो there were questions like कि कोरोना वायरस है, so वर्कर्स जो हैं वो स्ट्राइक पे जा रहे हैं या फिर वो उन्हें डर लग रहा है काम पे आने से, तो हाउ यू एज अ लीडरशिप in a leadership role as a manager will convince the labor, will give them confidence कि हाँ it's safe to come back to work. ठीक है, this was the video round, the case video round. And the third is the interview. So in the interview, in the video case, I would also like to mention कि उसमें क्या जरूरी है तुम्हारे लिए कि first of all you need to have confidence while speaking, and secondly ये रहेगा कि कंपनी के बारे में पढ़ लो. ठीक है, कंपनी के बारे में जितना पता होगा तुम्हें उतना अच्छा होगा. And in your interview round, as Abhishek mentioned, ठीक है, तुम्हारे and everybody else also mentioned the same thing कि वो तुमने जो लिखा है अपने इंटर्नशिप में और अपने प्रोजेक्ट में वो तुम्हें बहुत ढंग से बहुत डेप्थ में उससे पूछेंगे. ठीक है, दे विल लाइक बेसिकली ग्रिल यू. ठीक है, बहुत ज्यादा टेक्निकल क्वेश्चंस में वो चले जाएंगे. ठीक है, एंड बट एट द एंड ऑफ द डे व्हेन यू सी ना कि वो काफी लॉजिकल क्वेश्चंस पूछ रहे होते हैं. ठीक है, सो दे विल बी आस्किंग कि मेरे से पूछा था कि प्रेशर वॉल्व्स क्यों है, तो मतलब उसका यही आंसर था कि प्रेशर कंट्रोल करना जरूरी हो जाता है. क्या पता कि लाइक प्रेशर अगर इंक्रीज हो गया बहुत ज्यादा तो दैट्स अ सेफ्टी हैजर्ड. ठीक है, सो थोड़ा सा अपना काम रखना एंड लॉजिकली सोचना. ठीक है, तुम्हारे आंसर लॉजिकली निकलेंगे, इतना अंडरस्टैंडिंग होगी तुम्हें अपने गोल की. ठीक है, बाकी अगर केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग का देखा जाए तो 2 subjects that are very important are chemical reactions engineering and heat exchange. ठीक है, and guys I think yeah that's it, that is about it from my side. Questions I'll answer later.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. So thank you so much for explaining the process and sharing your journey. Students surely have learned a lot from your insights you shared. So going next, we would like to call Ramandeep sir. who is currently interning at Wipro Enterprises Limited. So over to you, sir.
Hi everyone. Are you able to listen to me, Shubham?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
So actually, I'm having network issues here. The location of my intern is quite a remote town in Maharashtra. So if you are not able to hear me at any point, just tell me once, right? So
Yes,
I
sure.
think probably other uh, panelists have pretty much covered that how you could decide in which you want to go ahead. And so I'll basically from my side, I'll try to input something regarding how you can prepare for tests and what you can do for the interview. So for the test part, I'll say you can practice a lot of questions from quant. Uh, so, so quant, so quant is one profile. Like a lot of companies ask the questions from quant. Analytics will have, and core companies also have. So Wipro had a test which actually had all the questions from quant. So the type of question which they ask are really simple and sort of like NTSC level. You will be able to solve them in some time, but only to develop a rhythm of solving the question at a very good speed. Like in that particular time frame, I'll suggest you start practicing quant questions. So the source could be from the internet. You can Google questions or also go to CAT questions or mock tests. Also, I think OCS collaborates with uh, some company last year. They collaborated with, I think, Prep Leader. So they also provide a platform where you can practice questions. So most of the companies will have questions related to this. So it would be better if you can have a good practice about that. So like after this round, the major is interview. And I think interview is the most important part. And I believe in interview, confidence is the key. मतलब have confidence in everything you speak. Say if at any point they ask you a question which you are not sure, so at least if you are sure of any part of that question, मतलब answer that with full confidence. And for the other, you can say that I'm not sure or like I'm not able to recall right now. But if you are not sure of anything in a particular question, you can simply say that I'm not able to recall this or like I don't know this. So that is also fine at a moment. And other than that, I believe key for a particular core type interview, you can expect two type of questions. One is actually which you can prepare, and other is which you can't prepare. मतलब can't prepare as in we can't predict those questions. Which can predict is, मतलब I believe there are three type of questions which you can predict. One is HR based, and the other is CV based, and third is मतलब your branch specific some important topics. So firstly, like HR questions. So these are pretty standard question which you can Google and you will get around set of 8 to 9 questions. So what I did at my time was that I googled all these questions. I got a list of 6 to 7 questions. I prepared answers for all of them. Like there are very pretty simple questions. Like what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Or what are your short-term and long-term goals? So in this particular question, what a lot of students do at times is कि they answer this as a single question. What are your goals? मतलब I'll suggest you answer them both as a two different questions, short term and long term goals. To prepare answers for differently for both of them, I think I'll have a better impact on the other person because he is asking you two different questions. This is one thing which I noticed during my time. So मतलब I think you should consider this. And other than that, so, other panelists I think also have emphasis on anything about the project. Be with it, they can ask you anything from that. So, मतलब have a sort of uh, practice. What might happen in that
Sir, your voice is not audible. Have you finished? Because your voice was very much means not clear due to the network issue. Okay, so I guess sir is still having network issue on their end. So thanks a lot, sir, for sharing your experience. So now we will move towards the Q&A part. So starting with, we would start with Abhishek, sir. So Abhishek, sir,
Shubham. So
yeah, yeah.
anybody has any questions related?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So
I would. Yeah, yeah, I would ask a question. There is a question from basically a student that is, does supply chain intern by FMCG companies like HUL and ITC open for ME2 persons also?
yes, they are open for ME2 people. To be honest, right? You are saying supply chain intern. The ITC, HUL, Wipro, these three companies at least, right? I think all the projects are same and they involve everything. My project in Wipro, its name is Core, but it's not at all FMCG. But I work on supply chain because mine is cost reduction. I need to reduce the cost with which I buy stuff. Supply chain, managerial, yes. Consult based, yes. Is it technical based? Do I need to optimize the system? Yes. So you have everything in it. So in general, these don't get misleaded by these names. That is why you see these branches opening for all departments. Their name is supply chain, but they take over everyone. Okay, so do not worry about it. As long as you're confident in your topics which you presented in your CV, you'll be absorbed by them. Yeah, you can go ahead, Shubham.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So the next question is for Rishabh, sir. That is, what comes under analytical skills? Can you elaborate it more?
So like analytical skills will, mostly include like how you understand the situation they give. Like for instance, in my interview in Qualcomm, they had given me a specific situation, just like a random situation. They asked me, what is the solution to this? What would you do in this situation? Or it can be more like a quant, a numerical based problem. So yeah, analytics are basically how you understand and how fast you're able to interpret that kind of information and give a solution to the question. For example, if they want you to achieve a certain purpose, are you able to give an effective answer to that? So yeah, that's
Thank you so much, sir. So the next question is for Ramandeep, sir. If he is basically having a stable connection, I guess, so he can answer one. That what if we have done no projects and due to online SEM we don't have any course projects in ME1 branch either. So what can be done in that case? Sir, you are not audible. I guess he is still having some issue. Abhishek, sir, if you can take it is
Yeah,
similar on lines of mechanical,
yeah,
right?
right. I'll take it on. So what if you have done no projects? Try to put in your assignments. Try to put in your coursework into words because if you want to get into core profile, course projects are the most important. Try to put in your intern. Try to increase the number of lines of whatever intern you have done. Yeah, so primarily do not leave the projects column empty. That is the most important for core. Put in assignments, put in your intern, do something otherwise in this 1 month. Try to do some online course or maybe anything, whatever. Do your self project, put in a self project, but do not leave it empty, okay? Am I audible?
Oh,
Actually?
yes, sir, you are audible. Yeah, so any more questions?
Yeah, sure.
If panelists feel any questions to be
Any
answered
more
from the
mechanical
Q&A
related questions,
box.
please let me know.
So I guess
So you have any
there
other
is,
mechanical based questions, put them in the chat.
so there is a question for mechanical, sir. That is, which courses are important for core mechanical engineering intern? So you can also answer that once.
Which courses are most important,
Which
right?
courses are yeah, more
You're saying?
important? Yeah, yeah. Which courses are more
So
important for core mechanical engineering intern?
okay, so for core mechanical engineering intern, the most important course is again thermodynamics is very important. kinematics and dynamics of machines was very important. I've been tested on that in Vipro. Apart from this, for ME2, actually, most of the relevant courses fall in the 5th and 6th semester that I've observed after coming here. So if you are from ME2, please try to emphasize that you will do the courses on machining or whatever. Your courses next year are going to be more relevant. But you can talk about MCL 133 if you have done it. That is a very relevant course to the field. And yeah, MCL 133, you have this kinematics and dynamics of machines, and you have thermodynamics. Yes, those make up for the core. And for mechanical, I think they have a manufacturing course. You can talk about that manufacturing course mostly. That is the most important course you can go for.
Okay, sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And one question for Vishruta ma'am. So, ma'am, there is a question that is this HUL and ITC as well mostly inclined on questions from core courses taught in third and fourth sem, or they focus mostly on intern projects that we had did apart from basically core and communication skills?
Right. So, do they focus on, yeah, so listen, they won't be, HUL wasn't like कि even for ITC, they weren't like कि हाँ भाई हम आके अब तुमसे heat exchange के questions पूछेंगे या फिर, हाँ तुमने ये subject पढ़ा so now we'll ask that. They will look at your project, ठीक है, they will see कि वो project कौन से area में है, ठीक है, and वो project related ही तुमसे technical questions पूछेंगे, and you'll see कि technical questions जो हैं वो तुम्हारे concepts जो है वो तुम्हारे इन्हीं सब्जेक्ट से रूट हो रहे हैं, लाइक केमिकल रिएक्शन इंजीनियरिंग, हीट एक्सचेंज, या सो और
Okay.
another thing guys I will focus on is कि इंटरव्यू में even if they are like asking you just actual वाला ही focus करूंगी मैं because that is what I'm most acquainted with. So they do have like a technical person there and an HR person there, and they might not like explicitly ask you HR questions, but the HR person is there to observe how you answer. So as this guy said, um, communication skills तुम्हारे वहीं पे test हो रहे हैं, and also like your general behavior कि तुम don't interrupt, अगर तुमने speak over कर दिया है गलती से interviewer के ऊपर बोल दिया है, then you say sorry, and yeah, like तो ये सब तुम्हारा background में check होता है.
Okay, sure, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. There is a question for I guess Rishabh sir can take up. That is in E, how many practices required to solve question in test? Like, do they test our speed solving or conceptual depth also? So,
See, like as far as practice is concerned, that is you should judge it. Like you're done JE, so like you should judge it. You'll be a better judge. As far as speed and conceptual clarity is concerned, you need conceptual clarity to solve, so that goes without saying. The test is a time test, but they usually don't ask like a lot of questions. It's usually I think maybe 1 hour and 10 to 20 questions. So usually most people end up finishing early rather than late. So speed won't be a problem, but conceptual clarity is required. So yeah,
okay, definitely.
especially in the interview. So in the interview, they might ask you about your thinking process, and then they might ask you, how you solved it. Is there like a better way? For example, in FSMs, if you say you use a mealy machine, they might be like, why didn't you use a more machine instead? And they might state that they might ask you what's the difference or advantages and so on. So if you use something, you have to be able to justify why you used it. So yeah, you have to be prepared for that.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. There is also one more question for you. What types of question does Qualcomm ask? So, as you have also mentioned in your experience that you had also given Qualcomm tests and all.
So as far as the written tests are concerned, it is again mostly digital electronics. So I don't think there was any coding questions as such. Yeah, there was only like digital electronics, MCQs. Sometimes they might ask you to write the binary string, numerical types. So that's all. As far as the interview is concerned, again, I think about half of it was again digital electronics. They tested my knowledge and so on, and then after that, they ask you to write a bit of coding because a lot of companies they do require coding. Like for example, me in Texas Instruments, some of my co-interns in Qualcomm, Texas Instruments, all of us we are doing correlated things, but it does involve a significant amount of coding. Like I am currently working in Verilog and Veripal. I know one of my friends is actually doing it in Python. So coding, they might ask you questions in coding in the interview, and even some tests also they might ask. I would suggest you brush up your basics on coding, like at least Python or C++ or Java, whichever you're comfortable with. And it'll also help you like in analytics, coding, any other profile you want to go, just the basic, not very detailed.
Definitely, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for answering it. There is also a question for Vishruta ma'am. That can you elaborate about your current project in HUL? Is there any application of basically chemical core knowledge?
Okay. Am I audible?
Yeah, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay. So what is my project right now? I am working in the Bombay head office of HUL, and I am looking over the ice cream department, quality walls. And उसमें क्या है कि I am working in automations, ठीक है? So like um, तो जैसे मेरे पास फैक्ट्रीज हैं कुछ 3, ठीक है? तो उनमें लाइक और अभी मैनुअल लेबर डिप्लॉय हो रखा है कुछ स्टेशंस पे। तो सिंस लाइक डिजिटल एजेंडा इज द ऑब्वियस थिंग गोइंग फॉरवर्ड इन फ्यूचर, तो इसलिए वहां पे ऑटोमेशन लाने की कोशिश करी जा रही है, ठीक है? तो इसमें केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग अप्लाई हो रही है या नहीं हो रही? तो देखो मतलब एज अ होल जो तुम्हारा मेरा प्रोफाइल है वो केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग के बिना नहीं हो सकता। लाइक एक्चुअल में वहां पे जो मेरी पूरी टीम है वो दे आर ऑल कंप्राइज ऑफ केमिकल इंजीनियर्स एंड मैकेनिकल इंजीनियर्स, ठीक है? बट देखो जैसे तुम्हारा बहुत ज्यादा स्पेसिफिक प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट हो जाती है, तो हाँ ऑटोमेशन में मेरी केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग इतनी नहीं लग रही है, ठीक है? बट लाइक व्हेन दे सेंड यू ऑफ, दे सेंड यू टू विजिट फैक्ट्रीज, ठीक है? सो लाइक राइट नाउ ऑल्सो देव सेंट मी टू बेलगांव इन कर्नाटका, ठीक है? सो इन ऑर्डर टू अंडरस्टैंड द फैक्ट्री, बिकॉज तुम्हें हेड ऑफिस से ही बैठ के चीजें समझ नहीं आ सकती, यू नीड टू बी ऑन ग्राउंड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि कैसे वर्क करती हैं चीजें, आइसक्रीम के प्रोड्यूस कैसे हो रही है, फ्लो चार्ट क्या है एंड ऑल दैट, ठीक है? सो फॉर दैट टू अंडरस्टैंड द फैक्ट्री, यस केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, ठीक है? एंड mechanical engineering also applies the same way. And yeah, like there are things like maybe like in your next semester there is a subject CLL 371 where they tell you about flow charts, PFD diagrams, ठीक है? So वो बहुत ज्यादा big चीज बन जाती है तुम्हारे लिए क्योंकि सारी factories उसी पे ही काम करती हैं। And then there are other things such as homogenizer, pasteurization, heat exchangers, मास ट्रांसफर्स, ठीक है? तो ये सारा जो तुम्हें अंडरलाइन कॉन्सेप्ट है फैक्ट्री के, इतने सारे स्टेशंस हैं, कैसे काम हो रहा है, कैसे प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है वो प्रोडक्ट, वो तुम्हें तभी समझ आएगा लाइक व्हेन यू हैव अ गुड अंडरस्टैंडिंग, बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग टू बी ऑनेस्ट, ऑफ योर कोर। सो या केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग इज बीइंग अप्लाइड।
Yeah, definitely, ma'am. So, there is also one more question, like, what's more impactful, the number of projects or the quality, like, complicatedness of the projects? Any advice for other branches like engineering, physics, or any other branches? So, anyone would like to take up in the panelist?
Okay, so I will take it. So like at least 2 3 projects should be there. More than that, if you write, then you will get to write only like 2 to 3 lines in a single project because there is a 1 page limit. So if you have 2 3 projects but you have done them with full dedication and you have achieved good results also, that is I think will be more that is better than having 4 5 projects and having 2 lines each. So yes, definitely, if you have done some project and have uh, achieved results, that was significant. So that is better than having 4 5 projects and each having in which you have done only a little part. So definitely.
Sure, sir. Also, sir, Keshav, sir, there is one more question in the chat. That is, do interviewers like look at individual course grades, like courses which match the job profile or a company's interest?
No, they don't have your grade sheet. Okay, so क्या बोलते हैं, they just like if they have any particular course in mind, like in my HUL interview, they asked me like which is my favorite course. So they asked me this type of question, which I was well aware of. Like one of my senior told me like there might be a possibility that the interviewer ask you your favorite subject. So they took the like most of the questions from that course itself. So if it happened that they need knowledge for a particular subject, they will ask you the questions about that, but they will not ask you what was your grade, or like they do not have your grade sheet. So this is not the case.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering that. So, I guess, guys, most of the question and answers have been answered. So, if you have any doubts, so you can still put it in the chat box. So, I guess Rishabh sir has also answered it in the chat box itself. So as we would like to now end our session, I would like to thank our esteemed panelists who were able to take their precious time for this event. Also in this time where basically they are doing offline interns on site. So each and every tip you have shared was quite informative and valuable. I also thank each of one for joining this event. So we hope we are able to provide you a platform where we were able to share relevant information. So and all your questions are answered, we hope. So thank you all once again.
All the best, guys.
All the best.